This is very exciting. We've made it to the beach for the first time since Craig's been in a wheelchair. Hello again everyone. So today we are pretty excited because we have got our hands on this, a Batec hybrid electric handbike attachment. Now this is something that Craig has been wanting since he left rehab, or even while he was still at rehab, and we have finally got it.
So before we get into the video, I just want to give a huge thank you to Wheelpower and the Wheelwrights 2020 Fund, Chris Steins and GEO Specialty Chemicals, and everyone else who have contributed to fundraisers over the last year. Without your help, it would not have been possible to get this, and it's going to make a huge difference, so thank you so much.
So in this video, we want to see how much freedom the Batec can bring to Craig. So since we're in North Wales right now, we thought what better place to put it through its paces and see what it can do. We've got the mountains, we've got the countryside, we've got mud, and right now we're on the beach to see how well it can cope with sand. This is very exciting. We've made it to the beach for the first time since Craig's been in a wheelchair. Craig's just getting to zoom around on the beach and I'm trailing behind walking at the moment. Compact sand seems to be alright. Slightly wet sand seems to be alright. So the sand's a little bit deeper here, but still getting through pretty well. If it was really deep sand that you really struggle to walk through, I think it would still struggle. So it's not going to do any sound on any beach, but for most beaches, it's pretty good. He's loving it. I haven't seen him have this much fun for ages.
So that's 20 kilometers an hour, which is quite fun in a wheelchair.
We're pretty impressed with it on this case, so thumbs up for that. So this is pretty deep sand here and it has sunk a bit. Craig said that as long as he kept up his momentum he was alright to get over it, but stopping just sunk down into it. So didn't do quite as well on that bit, but just about managed to get through. Woo! So we are walking up to Aberfalls, which is a waterfall in North Wales. And we thought this would be a good opportunity to test out how the Batec can cope with this sort of slightly hilly, gravelly terrain. And this is somewhere that we've been wanting to go for a while, but we haven't gone to before because we thought it would be very difficult to get to just in Craig's manual wheelchair alone without any sort of power assist. So now that we've got this, we thought we'd try it out and see whether we can get there. Ooh, losing grip. Too gravelly, and basically the wheel just spins and then starts to skid backwards, which means that we might need to do a combination of Craig using this and then me also pushing him from behind at the same time to make it. So we just came up this hill, which was a little bit difficult, and I needed to push Craig the whole way up the hill, but it wasn't that bad. We made it. This is the worst bit. So now the path is like this, flatter most of the way, so hopefully we should be able to make it. So we thought today would be a really good day to come to the waterfall because yesterday and most of the last week it has been raining a lot, really heavy, so hopefully that means today the waterfall will be quite impressive. Oh, thought you had it. Okay, so I think we found another section where Batec can't do it on its own and we're going to need another bit of me pushing again, but hopefully this is just a small section. So we seem to have made it up most of the hills now. I had to do a little bit more pushing, but we finally seem to have got to a bit where it's a little bit flatter and we can see the falls up ahead, so hopefully we're not too far off. Still not sure if we'll actually be able to make it all the way there because right in front of the falls it does get quite narrow and steep, but we should be able to get close enough that we can actually see them anyway. So one thing we found that has improved the traction a little bit is instead of trying to go straight up the hill, to zigzag like this, going across the hill keeps the grip a little bit better than going straight up the hill. Craig has been using this walk mode here on the Batec in today's test because I'm walking, so we're just testing out how well the walk mode can do. So we're just approaching the waterfall, but there are some stairs just there and this path is getting narrower. I can't remember whether there's a way around or not, or if this is going to be the end for us. So we just made it up this really narrow path with a lot of difficulty. There was big stones, really narrow, really steep, loads of big stones. So it was pretty challenging. Now we're just going to get to the waterfall before it gets dark. So there's the waterfall, we're almost there. So this bit's quite deep and a bit rocky, so Craig's going carefully down. Make sure he doesn't tip over. It's a little bit precarious with this drop to the side. We finally made it, but unfortunately, as soon as we get here, it started pouring down. Go, go, go. So we've come here to test out the Batec, and you might recognise this place from one of our previous videos where we tried to climb this mountain in Craig's wheelchair just with the free wheel, and I had to do a lot of pushing. It was really difficult, so now we're testing it out with the Batec to see how much difference the Batec makes. So far it's very effective. We already stopped quite a few times last time and we haven't had to stop at all. So this is one of the sections that we really struggled with last time, just this bit here. So let's see how the Batec does. Much better by the looks of it. Oh, a bit of difficulty. Oh, almost. So one thing we have discovered is you can do this combination of pushing on a back wheel and using the little throttle the Batec has. Get up something a little bit steep. We've already made it to the lake. This must be at least half the time it took us than last time. We were so tired and exhausted as well, and now it feels like it's just a gentle stroll. Craig's not tired either.
The Batec handled that trail really well. It was so much easier than last time when we came with just the freewheel. It was nice to be able to do it almost completely independently. It did get stuck a couple of times, but compared to last time with just the freewheel, where I needed help pretty much 80% of the time from Claire, it was so much easier. So it was nice to do this direct comparison to see just how much difference the Batec can make.
So for today's test, we've come down here to this forest where there are loads of bike paths to test out the bike function on the Batec.
So far we've been riding on a range of paths, from gravel roads to off-road tracks, and so far the Batec has handled everything really well. So this is more of a foresty track. There's no gravel here. It's a bit more bumpy, but the Batec seems to be handling it quite well. So the nice thing about the Batec is it has these 5 power levels indicated by these lights here. So the other day when I was with Claire on the beach, I was using the walk mode, and that limits the speed to about a walking pace, so that was good for them. And today I'm using speed 3 or 4 to keep up with Claire on the bike, and it goes all the way up to speed 5 if you're going even faster. So we're coming up to a big hill, and Claire's struggling a bit, but I can just cheat by pressing this button up. We can increase our speed. Sayonara, sucker! So this is maximum speed now. We're going 16 kilometers an hour, but up a hill. So it does go a little bit slower up hills than it does down, but it's not too bad.
So one thing we've been missing since Craig's accident is being able to cycle together. So we do have another handbike, which we've shown in some videos, but the problem is when Craig uses that bike, if we're going uphill, any sort of hill, even a very low hill, he often struggles quite far behind because he's just using his arms to power it and I'm using my legs. So what we've really enjoyed about the Batec is that because it's got the power assist, it basically fills the gap between leg muscles and arm muscles, so we can actually ride along together at a very comfortable speed.
So the Batec has really been a game changer for me in terms of cycling, because the power assist makes up the difference between my arm muscles and Claire's legs. So I can still pedal and feel like I'm having good exercise, and the power makes up the difference in the speed, so I can still keep it up with Claire and we can have a nice time together without being completely exhausted and having really sore shoulders like 10 minutes in.
Ooh. Oh dear, we reached an impasse. So we're on the supposed bike path and we have got slightly stuck. So one limitation we've discovered with the Batec is that it can struggle going up hills. So when you go uphill, your weight tends to be back over the rear wheels. Now this is fine on a normal bike because that's where your power is coming from, so it still has grip to push you up the hills. However, on the Batec, because the Batec is a front wheel drive and your weight's at the back, the front wheel doesn't have as much grip on the hill and it struggles to get any traction on the ground to pull you up.
So to help with the grip, we've been adding lots of extra weight over the front wheel. Now the Batec does come with 2 small weights at the front, but they're not enough, so we've been adding lots of heavy weight into the bag at the front here. Now adding the extra weight has helped a bit, but unfortunately it's not enough and we're still really struggling on steep hills, and that is the biggest problem with the Batec.
So today we're going to be testing out grass and mud to see how well the Batec can cope with those.
So when it's flat, the Batec handles grass and deep mud quite well. But as soon as an uphill gets involved, there's no chance, you just lose grip straight away.
So after testing out the Batec, we can sum up our experience with 3 questions. First of all, is the Batec the ultimate wheelchair attachment for freedom? No, in our experience it wasn't the ultimate attachment because it couldn't handle the hills. While it has the power for steep hills, it just does not have the grip. But does the Batec bring more freedom to our lives? Yes. It definitely does, because we can go to so many more places now that we've got it than we were able to go before we had it. And finally, are we glad that we've got the Batec and would we buy it again? And the answer is yes, we definitely would, because although it's not the perfect attachment, it does add a lot to our lives.
So we hope you enjoyed our quick review about the Batec. If you'd like to see a more in-depth review where we cover things like battery life, top speed and portability, then let us know down in the comments below. If you did enjoy the review, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe and click on the bell button to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one. Bye bye.